If you always put limits on everything you do, physical or anything else, it will spread into your work and into your life. There are no limits. There are only plateaus, and you must not stay there. You must go beyond them. Bruce Lee. So most of the videos that I make on this channel are actually small reminders to myself, things that I've learned over time and that I'm trying to remind myself in a moment where I need them. This is definitely one of those videos. But hopefully there's a lesson in it for anyone watching. That's the other idea of this channel, is that people can learn from my mistakes without having to make them themselves. You see, when I started this channel, I set myself the modest goal of trying to gain 1 new subscriber for each video that I uploaded. The idea being that I wanted to get to my first 100 subscribers within my first 100 videos. And up till now, I've been hitting that relative measure consistently and sometimes even exceeding it. However, inevitably, my streak was due to come to an end. Last week, I uploaded a video and unfortunately, I didn't gain a single new subscriber from that week's video. Now, in my logical mind, I knew that this was bound to happen sooner or later. We can't keep riding a high and expecting things to just keep going in an upward trajectory. But what was interesting is that in the days to follow, I had completely lost all motivation to make a new video. And at the time, I didn't actually put 2 and 2 together, realizing that this is what it was. I was actually wondering, why can't I be bothered to write my script, record my B-roll, sit down and edit? Actually, the video that followed that one was written, recorded, edited and uploaded on the due date. And it actually really took me a while to figure out why I was feeling this way, because up to this point, I had been really enjoying the process of making these videos. But after a little soul searching, I come to the conclusion that I was a little bit upset that I had hit a small plateau, something that is defined as a state of little or no change following a time of activity and growth, which sums it up pretty well. I was doing really well, numbers were going up, and then suddenly it's tapered off. So this got me thinking about plateaus in general and what we can do when they rear their ugly head, how we can approach them to make sure that we can get past them and continue to move forward with our goals. One of the most common places that a plateau will appear, regardless of what you're trying to achieve, is after you've received what I like to call your newbie gains. Newbie gains are the benefits you get from starting anything and the energy that comes from starting something new. So in the case of my channel, my friends and family were fully supportive and people had started following and sharing and passing it around. So in the first couple of weeks or months of doing this, I've seen really good growth. But of course, we get to a stage where the people in our circle now know and those who care about what we're doing now follow. And you're now reliant on getting outsiders to come and look at your content. Another relatable example might be that you're trying to take up more exercise and diet. Let's say that you're trying to lose some weight and you go to the gym for the first few weeks and you start eating right and you might actually see a physical change. The weight might go down on the scale a few pounds, you might feel more energetic, your skin might have cleared up, but eventually this tapers off as well. It's a fleeting high at the beginning. And it can be difficult to find the motivation to continue when you stop seeing the progress that you had at the very start. So here are just a few things to consider when it comes to hitting plateaus and things to keep in mind to help you break through them and keep moving on to the next level. Number 1, don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. Now, if you don't know this analogy, the idea here is basically don't give up based on this one little setback. Don't let this little thing be the reason that you then go, no, I'll just wipe my hands of it. I tried, it's not going to work. And this happens all too often. The thing is that newbie gains that you had and that progress has actually developed a level of momentum. And although you might have hit a small roadblock, if you stop now, you're going to go right back to the start. And then you get caught in this trap of always redoing the newbie gains. That means you go back, you stop for a few weeks, you re-energize, you come back to it, whatever it might be, and then you might see some little progress again. But guess what? That plateau is right round the corner. And the more you do this, the more often you repeat this cycle, the quicker you hit that plateau and the more frustrated you're going to become. Take a moment to look back and reflect on your successes. then you can begin assessing your failures. Number 2, don't obsess over the numbers. Normally, you hit a plateau based on some numbers. So in my case, it was my subscriber count. For, let's say, the weight loss situation, it might be that the scale stopped going down. If you've started a new business, it might be your income stream, how much money you're putting into the bank. Now, it's important to measure numbers. It's important to keep records. That's how we know how to adapt and improve. But it can be a double-edged sword. Whilst they can help us see how we're progressing over time, if we focus in too much on them, it can blur the bigger picture. It can help us to forget why we were doing this in the first place. It's important to stay grounded in your intentions when you're pursuing anything in life. Let's take that weight loss example and say that you're trying to lose 10 pounds. You've managed to lose 5 and now you're stuck. But you're still going to the gym regularly and you're still eating healthy. But frustration has started to kick in. What's important to remember is why you're really doing it. Are you really doing it because you want to get a certain number on a scale? Or are you doing it because you want to be healthier, because you want to live longer, because you want to have more energy? The number on the scale shouldn't really matter as long as you feel better in yourself and you feel you're improving. The same goes for me in this channel. I should be making these videos because I enjoy making them, because I want to put content out, not because I'm hunting for new subscribers. So just remind yourself from time to time that it's not all about the numbers and that we should be doing things because we want to do them, and that the success will follow as long as we stay on the right path. Number 3, make small changes. A common reaction when things start not going our way is to make very drastic change. We feel like we have to change everything in order to see some more progress. But this extreme approach will often just lead to you being further off course than when you started. Take a moment to identify the key areas of whatever it is you're trying to achieve. What are all the variables that you could manipulate that might change your progress over time? Once you've identified these, then change one thing, track it for some time, and then see if you've made any difference in your progress. And if not, change something else. And build on this over time so that you can develop a clear picture about what works and what doesn't. And my final point, and this is by far I'd say the most important one, is that you must remain consistent. A potter who wants to shape something out of clay must first warm up the materials in their hand. They spin it on the plate to try and get it to warm up, to be pliable, to be able to be manipulated. And when you're trying to progress in something, there will be this period where you're warming up the materials, where when you look at it and when you feel you're doing something, you don't feel like anything is really happening. But actually, behind the scenes where you can't see it, there is momentum building. And at any moment, it can shift the tide and suddenly you're in a place where progression is happening. The problem is you never know how close you are to warming up the clay. You never know how close you are to being at the point where things are going to start moving. But the second you stop, the second you remove your hands, the material is going to go cold and hard again, and you're going to be right back where you started. As frustrating as plateaus can be, they are a normal part of progression. Nothing is linear. Nothing goes in a straight line up, okay? Things are going to get difficult over time, and it's important to remain level-headed and calm and to understand that this is a natural part of the process. Nothing worth having in life comes by to us easy. If it did, then we'd all be living our dream life. The difference between those who find success and those who don't is that they don't give up on it. That when it gets hard, when you start hitting those walls, you continue to press forward. The most important thing you can do is remain consistent in your resolve whilst being flexible in your approach. Be willing to make small changes along the way, build on your successes, and learn from your failures. And as always, take care of yourself.